So now I'd like to ask another question because many of my followers, they're still very young.
Yep.
And this year, it's really hard to find a job. And they just send their resume and they try to get attention by HRBP. So is that a good?
Yeah, I think resumes coming all the time. So sometimes you have very long resumes,
Yeah.
very short resumes.
Yeah.
I think a resume or CV is very important, but it should be net, and it's just it's not the only thing. It is something that you would look at and see if there's something relevant to actually have another discussion. So one couple of things I look at: if somebody's moving every year from a job to job to job, that's a little bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
And so, but looking at things and looking at perhaps some results that you've accomplished in those roles, that you're very proud of and you have the passion, because when you do have the interview or a discussion, you want to talk about those. So you want to hold back and not give too much, but be able to talk about those. What typically works with me is we post a lot of jobs, and so typically somebody, if they know us or know somebody through the mentorship, will also come in and say, can you, do you know who's posting this job? And so I will go look it up and find out, and if it's somebody to endorse. So if you know somebody within the company that knows you and knows about you,
Yeah.
it's
Totally.
always helpful, because it's just a resume itself is just a piece of paper,
Yeah.
and character and that's why these networking is so important. If you
Yeah.
have a network and you have someone that can help open a door, just open a door,
Yeah.
then it's really up to you once the door is open. But there's no magic to that. But I used to tell my son all the time, sending resumes, you need that little bit of help. And some people don't want the help. They think they want to do it all on their own. And that's good, but just getting someone to help open a door, to make it a little narrower, to be recognized, I think that helps. That helps.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we all have daughter or son. Our kids already growing up and already become in this market doing their work. That's how we tell our kids. So, and another confuse. So many people ask me. I also want get your opinion on that. Many people they're thinking, should I join a big company? Should I ambitious to join a huge company, or a small company is also good to me? And I always worried if I took this job, maybe this is not my interested job, but it's a huge company. It's kind of a paper have some value, but this maybe small company. Which is I really like in that industry, but it's not a famous company name. So how do I choose?
How do you choose?
Yeah.
Well, I joined a big company, so
Yeah.
but that's, I think that's a lot of personal preference. If you just want to join a big company because you want the name, but you really don't think you're going to like the job, it'll come through, and it won't. It'll hurt you down the road, I think. The important thing is, if there's something you really like to do and you can gain experience and gain credibility in doing it, then go do it. When people come to us with whether they started a small company or a big company, it doesn't matter. It really comes down to the individual and how long they've stayed, what they've done at that role.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes you get references, and those are your mentors you typically ask for. Those references is always going to be a good check and balance to balance between a small company and a big company. A lot of entrepreneurial capability comes from a small company.
Yeah.
You get to learn, I think, a lot of different roles that maybe you might not like it when you're in one role in a big company. So it's a balance. It's a balance. We hire a lot of people from smaller companies, but they've got experience and they've gone through ups and downs, so they understand adversity.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's good. So either one's fine.
Yeah.
Just whatever you want in your heart that says that this is what you would have passion for.
Yeah.
That's what you should do.
So this answer is really resonate what I said to one of my assistants, Xiaowen, and she used to a little bit concerned how to choose, and is that typically what I said, right?
I think the cultural fit is very important. Does that company have the culture that you want to be a part of? It may not be the job so much. It may be the job, but is it the culture of the company?
Yeah.
You know, we've hired some recently some new people, some execs that have a lot of other options, and they came in and they love the culture. They love the feeling, the culture. When you talk to people in that company, you'll get an understanding quickly about the company. So that's another big part of the decision. Is really, you understanding the culture. What do they stand for? Will you get along with the people? And that's a key one.
Yeah. And also, when you talk about your career development, is kind of at first you're an engineer, and then you're doing. You're not sales role, but
I run the businesses. Yeah,
run the business.
I have a technical depth background.
Yeah, and also doing the strategy, and also I saw you fly to Israel and Silicon Valley to find all those new technology and to try to see if there's some opportunity to buy a company or maybe sell. I don't know. I mean, every step also very different. Very different. So do you think what you did before is kind of really help your current career development, or do you think if I choose different thing will make a lot of wrong and will ruin my life?
No, I don't think it'll ruin your life. I think I love what I do when I do that. I love working and looking and assessing startup companies. They all have a very similar story. They're going to make $1 billion in 2 years, and really they're not. But the passion and what they're doing and what they believe in, and really finding that diamond in the rough when you talk to these companies, and some of them don't, a lot of them don't make it, but they move on. They move on. They have that adversity and they move on. But they're doing it not to just try to be rich. Some of them are, but they're doing it for experience, and they've got a lot of depth when they do it. So. Yeah, I think I don't think you can go wrong in anything.
Yeah, every step
I think if you're a serial entrepreneur, again, this is my opinion, constantly going through serial entrepreneurs and then going into a big company is going to be very hard for you. It's just you're like a fish out of water. So, and I think the other way around, if you're in a big company thinking you could go do startups. And do that, and when you have some level of security in a big company, that's hard too. So it's you either take that path or you take another path. And at some point, if you're really really good, you can go back and forth. Yeah. But I think that's a challenge because I think the passion that drives an entrepreneur of startups and continually doing it is very different than someone who wants to be in a company that knows their product will get out to market. In fact, I think I was thinking back, when is the first product as an engineer will actually get out in the market and people will be using it? And that was a big question in my mind because it took a few years. And I had the chance to work in the company for some big systems that might take 10 years to create. I did not want to do that. I would work on 4 products in my life maybe. But that's me. A lot of people like to do that, and they want to work on that. But I was more wanted to work fast pace and do things and go to the next thing. So.
Yeah, super fast pace. I know that. So one question I want to ask you for one of my best friends. So there are a lot of people around you. So some people make you happy. Like me, I always make my people happy. I try to help them.
Really?
And they know my intention is to try to help. Even sometimes it's not good words. Sometimes they don't really understand me, but they know I have the good intention. But sometimes, things that happen make you really frustrated. I think you took the most challenging job, especially now. I think. How do you think how to get rid of all this negative energy? Sometimes
Well,
negative things
it's
happen.
interesting. I'm mentoring a gentleman, a salesperson, in my company, and he had a similar one. He's like, we talk every month by video, and he said, "Hey Brian, I have one individual. We have meetings. There's one individual just doesn't let anybody talk, and it's a negative energy. It's a negative thing, and it's nobody can contribute. They just shut down." And this was two months ago or so. So again, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I said, look, what I think you have to do, Charles, is you have to maybe talk to this person offline, have the discussion, and then you need to invite the other people into the conversation, because that's partly, people will shut down when there's negative energy around them. And so, part of it is you need to rise above that, maybe confront the individual individually, one-on-one. And you can't just avoid if they're important into the conversation. So you need to figure out how to somehow work with that individual to bring them in. Sometimes I deal with people like that all the time, and I kind of joke with them in meetings. I use a little bit of laughter and joking with them to try to diffuse it or to shut it down. But that's just an example of somebody who's overbearing, who's creating negative energy, and others can't contribute.
Yeah.
And I think the contribution and the diversity of discussion and different views is most critical.
Yeah, this part that you just said is from leadership, as a leader, how you involve everybody and make people contribute and make people peer-to-peer and make them have this network connection. So how you you must have some hard time, how you get out those hard time. What do you do for
What do I do?
Yeah.
When I'm not the negative energy, am I?
Yeah, you never had that. That's why I was crying, calling you.
It's just kind of interesting in what you do. I think I don't get out of it. I mean, you deal with it, and you talk about it. And I think, like you did, you talked about it, right? And I think that's important to talk through it. Be open, and talk to somebody, right? Talk to a peer, talk to a mentor. Don't keep it inside. Keep it inside, it's just going to continue to bother you.
Yeah, this is really valuable. At least my coaches always call me.
That's important.
Well, so it's really my honor to bring Brian to my video. And also, actually, my plan was when you were in Beijing, and also you agree with me that I bring more my followers who has some ambitious, who has some idea, who like to showing up. What is you thinking about new technology things or whatever, but because the time after 3 years you come here first time.
I'll be back.
Yeah. So this time I will not arrange that, but this is the advertisement now that you're going to invite it. If you really like, you're interested in technology industry, and also you have some idea, then I will bring you to Brian, and we can have a group conversation next time.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, my best friend.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, goodbye.
Bye-bye.